Slide 1, Title Slide. Welcome to CRO Training, Module WTC001, Safety Induction of Works Train Operation for the RTS link between Johor Bahru and Singapore. This session introduces key safety protocols, responsibilities, and access requirements for safe operations on track. Slide 2, Table of Contents. This training covers registration, course objectives, site layout, CRO area classifications, and access protocols. We'll also go through safety requirements, traction power coordination, and qualification criteria needed to operate in the works train environment. Slide 3, Table of Contents, Part 2. This part of the course includes critical safety reminders, CRO access protocols, worksite protection, and hand signal use. We'll also go through PTW applications, emergency handling, Q&A, and the final assessment process. Slide 5, Registration. After training, please complete the registration form accurately. Fill in your full name in capital letters, ID or passport number, job designation, company name, and project package. Follow the format shown in the examples. Slide 7, Program Outline. Today's training includes registration, course overview, site location, and CRO topics such as area classification, traction power coordination, safety requirements, and access protocols. It will be delivered via lecture or online session. Slide 8, Program Outline, continued. We'll wrap up Day 1 with training on hand signals, PTW application, emergency response, a Q&A session, and the final online assessment. All sessions will be conducted via lecture or online. Slide 10, Course Objectives. By the end of this course, you should be able to identify defined and restricted areas, follow access procedures, act as a lookout man, comply with CRO rules, practice good communication, and understand the permit to work PTW process. Slide 11, CRO Rulebook. All personnel entering CRO areas must follow the CRO Rulebook. It outlines standards for safety, conduct, responsibilities, and certification. Always refer to the latest version issued as a controlled document. Slide 12, Compliance with CRO Rulebook. All personnel must strictly follow the CRO Rulebook. Violations may result in disciplinary action or removal. Always carry the latest version on duty to ensure safe and compliant work conduct. Slide 13, SOPs and Operating Instructions. SOPs and operating instructions support the CRO Rulebook. SOPs guide safe equipment use, while operating instructions address urgent or temporary procedures. All personnel must comply and report any safety concerns immediately. Slide 14, Approved CRO Rulebook. The Rulebook also applies to works in areas like signaling equipment rooms and traction power substations, where actions may affect wayside equipment or traction power. It includes any other locations defined by the contractor. Slide 15, Approved CRO Rulebook. The CRO Rulebook applies to all works in CRO areas, including inspection, training, maintenance, construction, testing, LRV and track vehicle movement, emergency tasks, and any other activities specified by the contractor. Slide 16, Offenses. Any legal violations will be handled by the authorities and may result in court action. Incidents caused by personnel will be addressed through RTSO or CHEC's internal disciplinary system. Slide 18, Site Location WAHD Depot. This layout shows the WAHD Depot track arrangement, including works train siding, maintenance, lifting, stabling, and wash plant tracks. All movements are coordinated, with the main line heading towards Singapore. Slide 19, Site Location Viaduct. This slide shows the viaduct track layout from the depot to Bukit Shagar Station. Phase 2, Trip works include systems for signaling, power, communication, and fire protection. Access is secured by OPCO at P9, leading into the worksite arrangement zone. Slide 20, Site Location Viaduct. This diagram shows the full viaduct stretch between Malaysia and Singapore, including key crossovers for train route switching. The layout is essential for planning safe access and train movement during operations. Slide 21, Site Location, WDN Station. This is the WDN station layout, showing the arrival platforms for southbound and northbound trains, the departure platform, and the secured storage area. Access is controlled by security fencing and a guard post. Slide 21, Site Location, WDN Station. This is the WDN station layout, showing the arrival platforms for southbound and northbound trains, the departure platform, and the secured storage area. Access is controlled by security fencing and a guard post. Slide 24, CRO Organization Chart. This chart shows the CRO team led by Mr. Shamsuddin. Safety is managed by Mr. Subramaniam, supported by SHO and SSS. Mr. Hazwan Fikri controls trains operation team. Planning is handled by Mr. Faisal. Training is led by Mr. Norsaiful Effendi. This structure ensures safety, efficiency, and smooth daily operations. Slide 26, CRO Area. The CRO area includes safety walkways, tunnels, viaduct edges, station platforms, fenced depot zones, the control center room, and any other area designated by RTSO. These are critical zones for operational safety. Slide 27, CRO Area, Viaduct. This cross-section of the viaduct shows the CRO area covering the track area and extending 3 meters on both sides. All personnel working within this boundary must comply with CRO rules and safety protocols. Slide 28, CRO Area, WDN Station. This example shows the CRO area at WDN Station. It includes the track area and extends 1 meter beyond each side from the platform edge. Entry into this zone requires CRO authorization. Slide 29, CRO Area Depot. This image shows the CRO area at the depot where multiple tracks converge for stabling and maintenance. Only authorized personnel may access this area under controlled safety conditions. Slide 30, CRO Area, Viaduct. This photo shows the viaduct section under CRO control. Personnel working here must stay alert and follow track safety rules strictly, as this area involves elevated rail infrastructure and active access zones. Slide 31, CRO Area, Station. This photo shows the CRO area within a station under construction. All track-level activities in stations are considered high risk and must follow strict CRO access and protection procedures. Slide 32, CRO Area, Tunnel. This image shows a tunnel section under CRO jurisdiction. Due to confined space and construction activity, this area requires strict compliance with entry protocols and worksite safety measures. Slide 34, Defined Area, DA. During installation, areas handed over by TWK-WPC become defined areas. CRO rules apply immediately. These zones remain defined until the conductor rails are energized. Slide 35, Restricted Area, RA. When traction power is turned on, the CRO area becomes a restricted area. This allows LRV movements. The conductor rail here must always be treated as live and dangerous unless traction power is properly isolated and SCD is applied. Slide 36, Works and Traction Power Supply Coordination. This diagram shows how coordination is managed between CRO, the power controller, and substation chargemen. Power shutdown and energization are communicated via the Power Supply and Distribution System, or PS and DS. All WPCs must liaise with the CRO coordinator to ensure safe traction power management before any work or LRV movement. Slide 37, Works and Traction Power Supply Coordination. Process flow. This chart outlines the permit to work process for traction power coordination. Work begins with a PTW form submitted through the CRO PTW procedure, including traction power requirements. The CRO planner issues a weekly work notice, which is reviewed and approved sequentially by the CRO site coordinator, controller, and senior controller. When traction power is involved, PTUPT is coordinated with the power controller and chargeman. The PIC must maintain active communication with the site coordinator throughout the process. Slide 39, CRO training requirement and qualification. To access CRO areas, all personnel must first attend the mandatory construction safety training. Only after completing this can they proceed with the relevant CRO training according to their role. Persons in charge, or PICs, must be properly trained and certified to lead any work party. Lastly, every trained personnel will receive a CRO identification pass, which must be presented for verification before entering any CRO designated zone. Slide 40, accessing defined and restricted areas. Access to defined and restricted areas is strictly controlled. All personnel must have completed the WTC001 course and must be supervised by a certified person in charge, or PIC. As for visitors not performing physical work, they must attend a pre-task briefing, receive formal authorization from the CRO, and be accompanied at all times by either a PIC or a CRO site coordinator. Remember, unauthorized access into these areas is strictly prohibited and considered a safety breach. Slide 41, CRO ID Pass. This slide shows sample CRO ID passes for Malaysia and Singapore. Only certified personnel with valid ID showing general induction are allowed in CRO areas. Always wear your pass clearly at all times on site. Slide 42, ID Pass Sample, General Induction. This is the Construction Railway Operation ID Pass for both Malaysia and Singapore. It verifies the holder has completed general induction training and is certified to work in CRO areas. Slide 41, CRO ID Pass. This slide shows sample CRO ID passes for Malaysia and Singapore. Only certified personnel with valid ID showing general induction are allowed in CRO areas. Always wear your pass clearly at all times on site. Slide 44, PC ID Pass, Malaysia and Singapore. This is the official CRO ID pass for persons in charge. Green bar indicates PC role, issued separately for Malaysia and Singapore zones. Slide 46, CRO Safety Reminder. Key hazards in CRO areas. Risk of electrocution from live conductor rails and collision with moving or driverless trains. Slide 47, Fire Safety Requirement. No high-risk flammable materials allowed in CRO area without approval. Use correct extinguishers per fire class. Dry powder is most versatile. Slide 48, Fire Prevention. All must prevent fire risks. No unauthorized or flammable items left on site. Only trained personnel may handle electrical gear. Every work party must have a fire extinguisher. Slide 49, CRO Safety, Don'ts. Do not endanger yourself or others. Avoid leaving items or using faulty tools. Only plain water is allowed. No urinating or defecating. Never tamper with guards, fences, or safety equipment. Slide 50, Restricted Areas. Never step, sit, cross over, or hang anything on the conductor rail. Do not walk on top of the running rail. It's strictly prohibited. Slide 51, Pre-task talk requirement. Before starting any work or shift, each work party must conduct a pre-task talk. Names, CRO ID, topics, and signatures must be recorded by the PIC. Slide 52, Track Vehicle Safety. Only trained personnel authorized by CRO are allowed to operate track vehicles. The person in charge must be in the cab during movement. Always keep a safe distance from moving vehicles. Never board or exit while in motion. Track vehicles may only enter restricted areas when traction power is isolated and the conductor rail is earthed. Slide 53, Works Train, Diesel, Electric Locomotive, and Flat Wagon. This is the Works Train, powered by a diesel-electric locomotive and used for transporting materials within the CRO area. Only trained and CRO-authorized personnel are allowed to operate or ride it. All movements must be approved by the CRO. Never board or exit while the train is moving. Slide 54, Flat Wagon. This is a flat wagon used for transporting materials like cable reels and equipment. All loads must be properly secured. Only trained and authorized personnel are allowed to operate or work near it. Slide 55, Scaffolding and Ladder. Scaffolds and platform ladders near conductor rails in restricted areas require approved PTW and method statement. Power must be switched off and conductor rails earthed. All equipment must be insulated and comply with safety standards under PIC supervision. Slide 56. Personal Protective Equipment, PPE. All personnel must wear required PPE before entering the CRO area: helmet, high-vis vest, safety boots, and torchlight if needed. HV gloves are compulsory when working on the conductor rail in restricted areas. Ensure all PPE is valid and in good condition. Additional PPE may be needed based on the job. Slide 57. Don'ts. Prohibited behaviors in CRO area. Do not report for duty under the influence, carry weapons, sleep, bring unauthorized persons, or gamble. Smoking, including vaping, is strictly prohibited. Offenders will be removed immediately. Slide 58. Signages. Always observe all safety signages. Beware of trains, restricted area, high voltage warnings, and stop markers. Never move or tamper with these without CRO office approval. Disciplinary action will be enforced. Slide 59. Communication. Before entering a SRO area, the person in charge must book in and out the work party. SRO site coordinator authorizes access and oversees locations. Security guards control entry gates. Ensure proper sign-in procedure is followed at all times. Slide 61. Access to CRO areas. Work party can only enter CRO areas with CRO ID pass, PPE, approved PTW, and authorization from the site coordinator. Access is through designated points with signages and SC presence. Stop and report any unauthorized access immediately. Minimum of 2 persons per entry. One must be the PIC with a valid PTW. Slide 62. Reporting defects and abnormalities. Report any defect that may affect railway safety immediately to the PIC or site coordinator. If you spot any hazard that could impact LRV or track vehicle movement, take action to stop them. Notify the PIC or site coordinator without delay. Slide 63. Direction and track. Track 1 is the southbound line. Trains run from Wadi Hana Depot to Woodland North. Track 2 is the northbound line. Trains return from Woodland North to Wadi Hana Depot. Always observe direction indicators, southbound line and northbound line. Slide 64. Requirement for possession. Possession is mandatory for activities like installation works with track vehicles, control of wayside signaling equipment, testing and commissioning of LRVs, and any works involving traction power energization in restricted areas. Slide 66. Lookoutman. When exposed to LRV or track vehicle hazards, a lookout must be assigned. They provide early warning using flags or lamps during low visibility. Lookout is not needed if the work party is inside an LRV. Slide 67. Worksite protection. The PIC must assign 2 lookouts placed 50 meters from the worksite on main line or 25 meters in depot in both directions. Add more lookouts if visibility is limited, such as near curves. Slide 68. Traction power isolation. Before starting work in restricted areas, traction power must be isolated and earthed. This applies to track access, track vehicle movements, external works that may impact traction power or conductor rails. Slide 69. Short circuit device. Short circuit devices, SCDs, can only be used after traction power is isolated. Always treat conductor rails as live unless tested safe. SCDs are issued and installed by WPC. Slide 70. Completion of works pick must ensure all personnel have exited the CRO area. All tools and safety items are removed unless approved. Work meets PTW Form A criteria. Bookout is reported to the site coordinator. Slide 71. Scotch and clamp. Switch clamps and scotches are used to lock track switches in place. Clamp prevents switch movement. Scotch blocks the open switch rail. Must be installed correctly before allowing work or train movement over points. Slide 72. LRV and track vehicles movements. When track vehicles move, all work must pause. The PIC ensures safe clearance. The drivers must be cautious at level crossings, use horns, and follow all safety signs to alert road users and nearby personnel. Slide 73. LRV and track vehicles movements. Personnel must not walk between LRVs, track vehicles, or buffer stops if the gap is less than 3 meters, unless both vehicles are confirmed to be stationary and no shunting activity is taking place. Slide 74. Track crossing and clearance. While on track, personnel must not move onto any other track unless they are sure there is no danger from approaching LRVs or track vehicles. They must not remain in the space between adjacent tracks unless it is safe to cross. Additionally, they must not step on turnout areas, or sit or walk on the conductor or running rails. Slide 75. Turnout and switch machine. A turnout is a track component that enables trains to switch from one track to another without stopping. The switch machine is a movable rail section that allows vehicles to be guided from one track to the other. Slide 76. Facing and trailing direction to identify the position of a turnout. Personnel must observe it from the facing direction. In the trailing direction, a wrongly set turnout can lead to derailment. Slide 77. Position and direction. A turnout is set to the right when the switch blades guide the LRV or track vehicle to the right-hand track. Conversely, it is set to the left when the blades direct the vehicle to the left-hand track. Slide 79. Normal stop hand signal. To stop an LRV or track vehicle, raise both hands above the head steadily if no flag or hand signal lamp is available. Alternatively, show a red flag or red hand signal lamp at shoulder height. These actions signal the driver to stop immediately. Slide 80. Emergency stop hand signal. In an emergency, raise and wave both hands above the head to signal danger if no flag or hand signal lamp is available. When using a red flag or red hand signal lamp, hold it above the head. These signals require the vehicle to stop immediately. Slide 81. Move toward hand signal. This slide illustrates the signals for moving forward. On the left, a yellow flag indicates the move forward command. On the right, a yellow hand signaling lamp conveys the same instruction. Both signals are used to direct the movement of equipment or vehicles safely. Slide 82. Move away hand signal. To signal a vehicle to move away, use a yellow flag or yellow hand signal lamp. Move the flag or lamp repeatedly from the shoulder height down and up. Slide 84. Work permit access. Work permit access starts with a request by the work party coordinator through form submission. This is followed by a weekly meeting to review and approve the works, set boundaries for possessions, plan energization and protection, and coordinate vehicle movements. Once approved, a works notice is issued with relevant PTW and conductor rail details. Finally, the approved works are implemented on-site. Slide 85. PTW application. PTW must be submitted to the CRO office by Monday, 12 p.m. The PTW meeting takes place on Wednesday, followed by issuance of the approved PTW and work notice on Friday. Approved work can then commence the following Monday during the designated work week. Slide 86. PTW application access to CRO areas requires formal application. First, submit the PTW Form A to the CRO planner. Second, attend the weekly CRO notice meeting. Third, access approval will be issued through the CRO notice. Fourth, approved CRO areas for depot and mainline will be confirmed during the weekly PTW meeting. Lastly, submit PTW Form B to the CRO site coordinator on the day of access. Slide 87. CRO Works Notice. This slide displays a summary of approved PTW activities for depot areas. It includes PTW reference numbers, work party names, detailed work descriptions, locations, PIC contacts, and the schedule, start-end dates and times. Only activities listed here with proper authorization may proceed as scheduled. Disapproved PTWs are excluded and require reference to the energization notice. Slide 88. Traction power supply. And line clear switching of traction power must follow the PTW process and be included in the CRO weekly works notice, except during emergencies. When traction power is turned off in restricted areas, it must remain off until the area is declared clear of all personnel and equipment. After all work parties have booked out, the CRO controller will instruct site coordinators to conduct a line sweep to confirm clearance, either by walking or using a track vehicle. The status is then reported back to the CRO controller. Slide 89, Emergency Isolation of Traction Power, Blue Light Station, BLS. In emergencies, any personnel may initiate traction power isolation by pressing the lock-in trip button at the Blue Light Station, BLS. The BLS safely disconnects traction power from the conductor rails. The indication light will blink when operated. Outside of emergencies, power isolation must be formally requested by the work party through the CRO site coordinator and approved by the CRO controller. Slide 90. Emergency isolation of traction power. Situations requiring activation. Emergency traction power isolation must be carried out immediately in any of the following situations. When a person is at risk of electrocution, when an object is near or touching the conductor rail, when there is fire on or near the track, when a train must be stopped but no other means are available, when a conductor rail is broken, in the event of an LRV derailment or collision, or during any other emergency that poses a threat to safety and requires traction power to be cut. Emergency isolation of traction power. In case of an emergency, traction power for specific sections can be verbally requested to be isolated by informing the CRO controller or CRO site coordinator. The message must be brief, clear, and specify the section or station to de-energize. Following the isolation, the requester must immediately provide their name, qualification, and ID number, the reason for the request, and the exact location, time, and incident details. Slide 93. Incident and emergency management. In case of any incident or accident, involved personnel must preserve site evidence and document all relevant information for investigation. During an emergency in CRO areas, all work package contractors must strictly follow the CRO emergency response plan without delay. Slide 94. Incident and emergency management. In case of an emergency, report it immediately. If using radio, start your message with emergency, emergency, emergency. If using telephone, begin with "This is an emergency call." Emergency calls must be prioritized. All other users must clear the channel until the call is acknowledged and the message is fully transmitted. Slide 95. Incident and emergency management. When responding to an incident or accident, the first priority is to preserve life. It is also essential to contain any further damage to property. Evidence at the scene should be preserved to support investigation efforts. Once it is safe, normal CRO activities should be resumed promptly. Slide 96. Incident and emergency management. Anyone within the CRO area who witnesses an unsafe act, near miss, hazard, obstruction, or any foreseeable risk that could impact staff safety or the movement of track vehicles or LRV must report it immediately to the person in charge or the CRO site coordinator. Slide 97. Incident and emergency management. All incidents and accidents must be reported immediately to the CRO site coordinator. CRO staff must take all necessary actions to prevent any track vehicle or LRV from entering the affected area until it is safe. Slide 98. Incident and emergency management. All personnel must stay alert while in the CRO area. Special attention should be given to trackside conditions, such as obstructions affecting vehicle movement, extinguished headlights or taillights, missing red flashing lamps, any sign of fire or flooding, and damage to trackside equipment or signage. Slide 99. Incident and emergency management, offense and penalty. The process for handling offenses in CRO areas depends on the nature of the violation and applicable jurisdiction. It begins with identifying the offense, notifying the offender, and conducting an investigation. Based on findings, a penalty is determined. This is followed by enforcement and provision for review or appeal if necessary. Slide 100. Incident and emergency management, minor offense table. This table outlines common minor offenses in CRO areas. These include starting work without permits, exceeding noise limits, failing to display required signage, and improper waste management. Other examples are violations of working hours, parking restrictions, safety protocols, unauthorized blockage of public access, and non-compliance with environmental regulations. Each offense references specific sections in the CRO rulebook for enforcement and accountability. Slide 101, Incident and Emergency Management, Major Offense Table. This table highlights major offenses within CRO areas. These include conducting work without required permits, unsafe working conditions that endanger lives, and violations of environmental laws. Other serious breaches are fraud, negligence resulting in injury or death, compromising public safety, and ignoring official stop work orders. Each offense carries significant implications and is governed by the CRO rulebook, references indicated. Slide 102. Disciplinary action. For minor or first-time offenses, a verbal warning may be issued. This serves as a reminder of safety rules and their importance to the team and project. For more serious or repeated safety violations, permits or person in charge, PIC, status, may be suspended or revoked. This prevents the individual or company from operating in the CRO area and underscores the importance of compliance with safety and health regulations. Slide 103, Disciplinary action. Any person in charge, PIC, who breaches the CRO rulebook will have their PIC status revoked and be barred from accessing all CRO areas. This strict action ensures accountability and reinforces adherence to safety and operational standards across both Malaysia and Singapore work zones. Slide 110. Course assessment. This is your online course assessment. Please listen to the instructor's briefing and scan the QR code to begin. Make sure to complete the assessment within the allocated time. Slide 111. End of training. This concludes the CRO Incident and Emergency Management training. Thank you for your attention and participation. Please ensure all procedures, safety protocols, and disciplinary guidelines covered today are applied consistently in your work areas. Stay safe and compliant at all times.